Hey everyone, welcome back to another Secrets and Analysis video for Star vs. the Force of Evil. I'm here with Michael as always, and today we are going to discuss the two episodes that air this week, Hungry Larry and Spider with a Top Hat.
Woohoo!
So Hungry Larry was the Halloween episode, the obligatory Halloween episode for the show,
Yeah.
well at least the first one that we're getting for that. And it was pretty early aired, still not Halloween for a couple of weeks. But it was still a great episode, and we got some character development for Raphael, who is Marco's dad.
Yeah, that was really interesting. We haven't really seen much of Marco's parents for a while, like doing anything relevant. So that was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, so in the episode, it's basically about, it's Halloween, and Raphael has his house. He's trying to make it a haunted house, and he's trying to be scary, but he fails really badly. So Star basically summons a monster named Hungry Larry to make his house haunted, and it works a little bit too well, I guess.
One thing, just to move backwards a little bit, I found very interesting was that Marco's dad mentioned having sympathy for the monster. So I think that was a nice little hint at things that might end up happening, like I said, with the theory of Marco joining the monsters and how he referenced like when they were recreating the war. And he was like kind of talking about, oh, this is kind of unfair. So I think that was like a little like nudge from the writers there.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I didn't notice that. Of course, there's a lot of little details in the show, which makes it awesome. And one of those details is, if you notice that Star's costume, it's actually supposed to be Ludo, but she kind of forgot what he looked like. This was confirmed by the creator on her Twitter account, where she said like she gave Ludo a tail when he doesn't have one, I guess.
That's very random. I was wondering, like, so she looks like Ludo, but why is there a tail? I don't remember him having a tail.
Yeah, so I guess she just hasn't seen him enough lately. She just totally doesn't care. But yeah, love all the costumes from this episode. And as usual, as we have been seeing lately, Jana is here again. And that's kind of making me think, like, is she almost a permanent character of the group now? Which is really interesting because she was barely seen before, like the last couple episodes, and now she's popping up everywhere.
Yeah, that's what it seems like they're going for. It seems like they kind of did that by accident almost. Like I feel like they didn't like normally initially plan for her to become a regular character, but it seems like they're slowly trying to ease her into the more main cast.
Yeah, and she's a really cool character. And actually, this episode was quite scary for, especially for a kids show.
Yeah.
They got away with quite a lot, I'd say. Hungry Larry, most notably, although he wasn't scary at first, but eventually that changes.
Yeah, it was very creepy. Apparently, Hungry Larry was actually voiced by Billy West, which is pretty cool.
Oh, and I forgot to write this in my notes, but I'm just going off of what I know. Hungry Larry is probably based on Bloody Mary. You have to say the name
Yeah.
3 times or something. Yeah, I don't really know too much about that, like scare horror stories, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, they just made it like a little more ridiculous. Like Bloody Mary, you have to go in the mirror in the bathroom and say her name 3 times in the dark. This one, you just lick mustard from a takeout menu, which is very weird. Like, when did that happen? Because takeout menus have only existed for so long. How long has Hungry Larry been a thing? That's like really random.
That's a very good observation. Yeah, a lot of things like that don't make sense in the show.
Yeah, right.
So Hungry Larry begins to eat people, starting with Jana, and then he ends up eating a lot of the little kids and pretty much everyone except Raphael. And then Raphael is the one to save the day, kind of by becoming scary himself and making Hungry Larry throw up everyone he ate.
Yeah, and I think Hungry Larry's actually like his design when he was like eating and he was full and stuff. I think it was a reference to No Face from Spirited Away. Kind of reminds me of that. He started eating people and stuff like that. So it's like a little nod there.
Yeah, and then like at the end he explodes, right? Or No Face. Like all this stuff just comes out. Yeah, so that usually happens when they eat a lot of stuff. Any villain or whatever. Yeah. So,
normal stuff.
Yeah. So that was pretty much it for that episode. There really wasn't much analysis, but I definitely recommend this would probably be a good holiday an episode to watch every Halloween. Because it's not only because it's the Halloween one, but it's also really cool and also scary if you're looking for more of the scarier type cartoon episodes, I guess.
Yeah, very creepy.
So moving on, we have Spider with a Top Hat, which, as we have seen like in the past few weeks, is like kind of the more lower centered episode, although personally, this one I didn't see as much lore as in the other ones, and probably like the only exception, like, or thing that we really did learn was what we learn about Spider with the Top Hat's power that might be relevant in future episodes.
Yeah, I thought it was very interesting as well that the creatures live in the wand. Like, I never really thought about it. Like, I always just assumed they just kind of materialized out of nowhere. So that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I definitely was thinking that Star just created life, kind of, or her wand was able to just create life like that. Or they were just like, yeah, they didn't have lives of their own and stuff. I did not expect that at all. But it makes sense, I guess. But it kind of does mean that either like the wand is some sort of pocket dimension with different layers. Because we didn't see the unicorn, the unicorn that powers the wand.
Right, yeah.
So probably has more than one dimension, or maybe Star can't see that dimension with all the monsters and only the unicorn. It's really complicated, and I don't know if that's gonna ever be brought up again.
Probably not. And yeah, like the wand itself was a lot bigger than how it actually is, because like the unicorn was like very tiny, so you like fit physically in the small wand, and then you have the, I guess, wand dimension where all the creatures are inside, and it's like a whole building almost.
Yeah. So basically, in this episode, it centers around Spider, not Star. Like in a couple episodes recently have not been centered around Star, surprisingly, even though she's the title character. But I like it when shows do that. And Spider with a Top Hat has previously been seen in the end credits of every episode and briefly in the other exchange student.
Was he? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it was just like, I don't think she summoned him. I think he was just kind of there and like next to Marco, and then he like shoot him away or something. I don't know. I just saw a picture of somebody posted. Yeah, but he is in there.
Interesting.
So in this episode, we see that Spider with the Top Hat is pretty much moral support, even though he wants to be a powerful offensive weapon like a lot of the others. So he kind of tries to train to become better, but because he's so small, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, and like going back to things not necessarily making sense, I guess it could make sense, you just don't really have an explanation, is how, like, who built this wand thing? Like, was it built by somebody, or did it just like materialize out of nowhere? Like, how does that happen? How long have they been living there? Like, I have so many questions about this pocket dimension.
Yeah, I really like, do these animals, creatures ever die? Do they? Because we see that there is a baby, like the narwhal and the butterfly have a little baby hybrid baby, and like I'm wondering, will that ever grow up and be used as an attack? Yeah, like there's like a ton of questions this episode brings up, which, like we were saying, probably won't be answered, unfortunately.
Yeah, probably not.
So one day, Star starts casting all of her spells at once, and we see that Warnicorn comes back and he bleeds rainbows, which is like, you see that often with a lot of unicorns, but he's not dead, as we see later. So because she's summoning every single spell, the spider finally gets a chance to be summoned. And we also see inside the wand, like coming when the animals or creatures come out of the wand, they go through like this really cool tunnel. I don't know how big the wand is for them, but obviously very huge if they all live in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. We saw him be summoned, and it turns out that he was kind of the move that he always dreamed of, because he's like literally the most powerful spell Star has, but I guess he didn't know this, or he just wanted to be physically strong. That's kind of confusing to me.
Yeah, like, because this wand is something that's been passed down for generations, so like, I don't know if he's been there the whole time, or if he's a more recent spell that just never ended up getting used. Was he like manifested because Star's the one wielding the wand, so they're more like whimsical, kind of funny, campy type spells that are actually very strong? Like, I'm not sure how that works, because like, I find it weird that if he was there the whole time, that no one's ever had to use him.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting that you bring up. Maybe each new wielder, like a new set of creatures comes, or that, are kind of like their personality or something. So maybe there have been spiders in a Top Hat before, but not this one. So it might be a brand new one. That's really interesting.
Yeah, it could be.
So at the end, we see Star and Marco needed all these spells because they were fighting a giant wolf, which we got no explanation for and probably won't.
Yeah, I was dying to know why that was happening. Like, that was super, super intense for just a generic random villain.
Yeah. So that was pretty much the episode. These two really didn't have too many details we could pick out, but, you know, as always, we find something to talk about. Is there anything else that you saw?
Not really. I didn't have too many notes these episodes, but I liked them. They were really good episodes. Like I said, you know, this show's been renewing my interest for the series, so I'm very excited to see what happens next.
Yeah, same. But unfortunately, it looks like there's going to be a hiatus for 3 weeks. And then after that, we'll get 2 new episodes. Well, you know, it's always in a set of 2, it looks like, so that's probably no surprise. But there's one called Into the Wand and one called Pizza Thing, so we'll just have to see how those turn out. Hopefully good, like the last couple, like half dozen or episodes.
Something like that.
Yes, like around that have been pretty good actually. So
Yeah.
So that pretty much covers it for this episode. Thanks for watching.
Peace.